Hello, friends. Uncle Marv here with another episode of the IT Business Podcast presented by NetAlly. And ladies and gentlemen, I have a special show this evening. If you are listening by audio, you have caught the recorded version of the Wednesday live show. And if you are watching by video, thank you for joining us. Today is a very special Wednesday. We are 2 days away from Chicago Techcon Unplugged, the MSP conference put on by our friends Rick and Paco over at MSP Unplugged. And I have been doing a series of little shows about some of the vendors that'll be there and doing presentations. Tonight, I am going to be joined by some of my tech friends that are going to be there as well. So we're going to bring them on and we're going to hang out and chat. And we're going to have some adult beverages and other stuff throughout the evening. So enjoy. Let me first bring up the darling of the channel, Lady Diana Giles from Skyline IT Management. Giles, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I am good. Fantastic even. So are you ready?
I am, or I will be. Quite a bit of things to do tomorrow before I can get on that plane on Friday, but I'll have it done by then.
It's going to be a rough day tomorrow. I know everybody's going to be trying to cram stuff in.
Yeah. And I've had a lot of new things going on, so it's just been kind of a whirlwind week, but all good. Just a lot to do.
All right. Well, let's now also bring in another great friend. He was on the show just a few weeks ago. He had taken, I don't know if you want to, obviously it wasn't a respite. It was not even a hiatus. I forget the exact name of it, but it was basically called the El Camino. Tom Bull from Two River Computers. Tom, how are you?
Oh, hey, what's going on?
Oh, my goodness. How long did you practice that?
I don't know. I was doing it for like 5 minutes. I was waiting for you to cut me in, and I was going to try and make it seem like a fun
when you're in the green room, man. You got to be ready at any time. So
the people who are listening didn't get that sight gag. But yeah, so Camino de Santiago, Marvin.
That's
sabbatical.
Sabbatical.
That sounds like a terrible word, but it's really awesome.
Actually, sabbaticals are supposed to be good. We just don't take them anymore.
It sounds negative to me because I've always associated it with the clergy, like a priest or a nun or somebody that needs to take a break for a while because the cloth is a heavy cross to bear, so to speak.
I was going to say the cloth is heavy. Is that what you're saying? Well, speaking of heavy, I've got another group in the green room here, and their bags are usually heavy from all the winnings that they do, and I have it on good authority that we are going to have some rigged stuff, so they will not be able to win. I am talking about the Miller from Unplugged. Jason and Rachel, how are you guys?
They're muted.
Good. How about you?
Were you upset that I said that?
I don't know. It's all good. I mean, truth hurts sometimes. I mean, it's cool. So. I speak on everybody, but hey, we don't win everything.
I want
you win a lot.
That's true.
You win a lot. You're winners. Let's face
More
it.
than your share.
Let's say that. Win. Your parents win. Everybody wins.
Yeah, our kids are taking after us too, right? So.
Yeah. So, Millers, how are you guys doing? Are you ready for the trek?
Still packing. So we're getting there. So we come home, wash clothes, get our kids packed up. You have to do that whole thing to get them over to Mama's house to spend the night for a few nights. So you have to pack 4 people, not 2. So it's one of those things, So luckily Rachel does most of it. So.
And 2 dogs.
And 2 dogs, yeah. So.
Yeah, my dog doesn't know yet.
You haven't broken it to the dog yet?
No, she'll see when I get the suitcase out and she'll start moping around.
That's when they know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So all of you are going to be doing some sort of presentation or panel, and I will be the host and emceeing the event, which really means nothing except for I'm the guy that tells everybody to let's move. We have the next session ready to go. But are you guys ready for all your sessions? I think, Tom, you're doing a solo thing, right?
I'm doing a presentation about when it's appropriate to hire someone and how you justify it, how you figure it out, when do you know. Sometimes it's a gut thing, sometimes it's a scientific thing, often it's a blending of the two things.
Right.
But yeah, so I'll be doing that I thought I was doing it seemed to change a couple times. I thought I was doing it Saturday and Sunday. Now it looks like I might only be doing it on Sunday by the latest agenda. Not entirely sure, but I'm ready for anything, man.
All right. Are you bringing your staff? I know I asked you earlier and I forgot already. Are you bringing?
Yeah, no, I'm bringing Fernando. He's our newest. He's our network engineer. Fabulous addition to the team. Has been with us since November. Diana's worked with him on some Office 365 deployments, and he just did a very large Ubiquity install yesterday. 17 access points and I think 6 switches and a firewall in a house.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I was going to say
big house.
The Millers are thinking 17. That's kind of small.
Yeah.
Nah, not really.
House.
Yeah,
For a
house. That's huge.
a
Big ass house.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's this guy do? I mean,
It's going to be multiple floors, and
He's an attorney. He's an attorney from Pittsburgh. I don't know. And it's coincidentally, I'm reading or listening to the book, The Firm. So I feel like there's some kind of like weird lawyery thing going on.
all right. And Diva, you're doing a presentation this year.
All right.
What are you doing, Rachel?
Who's the diva?
Which one's the diva?
The Diva
I'm
knows
the diva.
who she is.
You're the darling. I'm the diva. So
Okay.
Here we go. I guess I'm doing it on accounting best practices.
All right. You're going to teach us how to reprimand customers when they don't pay on time.
Yep, you're done. Go away.
she gives no slack. She comes in there, hands me all the past due invoices, and says, "Call them." So.
All right. I'm going to acknowledge a couple of people in the chat here. Cristobal Rivera. You guys remember him?
Yeah, Chris. Yeah.
Saying hello.
To the conference.
I don't think Cristobal is making it this year. And of course, our good friends, the Rosas, are saying that they are missing this year.
No.
Yeah, they're in New England. They're farting around. I've seen her pictures.
Oh,
Come on, Carrie.
and Mr. Scott will be making the trip this year. I think he's on the panel too, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it looks like we got all things happening here. The Rosas, you said they're in the New England area?
Yeah, they're up in, I don't know if it's, they're in, well, I think Keith is from Boston or the Boston area. So they're visiting family, I think, but she's posting all these pictures of really good, fun things. And she's being very zen about it. Like sunsets and flowers and rock formations and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Okay. So I just had a interview earlier today with somebody in Boston. That episode won't be released until next week. The CEO of Synchro.
Oh, wow. Ian Alexander?
Emily Glass. Yep. I had an audio interview with her today. She's in Boston.
Right.
And not that really matters, but I like how things intertwine from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
And Giles, what are you doing this year at the conference?
All I know is it's a panel, and it involves Microsoft 365. Other than that, I don't know too much.
Because you are the 365 expert now.
Well, that I do have that certification.
She
and
posted
sometimes-
that. She posted that. Like, look at me. I have this cool little shield from Microsoft.
That's
And I'm
right.
like, that's it. I'm hiring you because you're the expert.
And sometimes you feel like an expert, and sometimes you're like, it's
No.
Microsoft. So
Agreed.
Oh, man.
Right?
All right. So anybody have any good work stories recently? I've got a customer that their small business server 2008 died yesterday.
Ooh. I'm sure you've been mourning them.
yes,
Yeah.
sure.
Yep. And of course, they have a custom database that they have to have up and running. But I'm like, well, do we even know if we can put it on a new server? and they've been trying to contact their vendor who has not responded to them.
You need to contact Solutions.
Yeah, but this is, well, I can, but this is a custom database written by a company that does visual, and this is their database for this industry, and we need to, and here's the thing. This company has been telling my client, and let me step back. They're not really my client. They are somebody who I helped years ago, and basically since 2017, I've said, you need to replace this server. You need to get off Windows 7. You need to do, and they're like, okay, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. I don't manage them. They call me basically once every couple of years, and it's usually a crisis. And I tell them, I said, look, this is not supported. And if it breaks, I'm not even going to attempt to fix it. And they're still calling saying, please, can you help us? And so I went, I looked at it, turned it on, found a corrupt file, said, can't help you.
Are they a law firm?
No, they are, so they're not a store, but they do online, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe it without being crude. So,
Are they adult toys?
Well, they
went right there. Did you see that? Okay, sorry.
They sell female products for women that have undergone mastectomies.
Okay.
Oh.
And fillers and bras and all that stuff. And then they also sell to another part of the world that likes to indulge in fetishes.
Oh.
Sweet.
Okay.
Sure.
We need to unpack that a little. I think cocktails in Chicago. We need to hear more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
God, I just said cocktails.
I mean,
All
but
right.
they do all their sales through this program. They also had their mail server on there because they were running the old Exchange 2007.
Hmm.
Oh, my.
Mm-mm-mm.
So they're like, we get our mail? I said, no.
Wow.
No mail for you.
Mail for you. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. What do you guys got going on?
Well, one of the things, similar story, but ours happened about a month ago. Had a customer that got surged, fried a few computers, fried a old computer that runs XP machine that runs a big saw for cutting up granite. Big operation, makes cabinets and custom stuff, and very, very large operation. They do all the majority of the home builders around here use this customer or customer of ours, use them to build cabinets and do the countertops and all that. But so they do a lot of new construction countertops and cabinets. Anyways, hit a big surge. They had a server we've told them they need to replace for a long time. They had a 2003 server on there and one VM. They had a 2008 server and a 2016 server on there. But it's one physical server, but VMs. And of course, it blew up, and we keep spare servers at our office, that we pull out of other customers, and rushed in, saved the day. They had 2 hard drives fell in the RAID array, and luckily it was a RAID 6, and it was we were able to mess with it, get it back up and running enough to pull the data, because they had no backups either, none whatsoever. We don't manage this client; they just call us on a break fix basis. So, I've talked to them about backups before. It's too expensive. Who cares about my business data? But either way, long story short, we put that server in probably, I don't know, has it been a month and a half ago?
It's probably been 2 to 3 months.
My time flies. 2 to 3 months ago, apparently. So we put that in, and they're borrowing our server, our spare server. And so,
Have they paid you yet?
they paid us the labor to come save the day. It was like $3-4 or something like that to come save the day and get them back up and running. But on our spare server, our spare switches, our spare sonic wall, our spare everything, and our equipment. And then so I put all this stuff in, and our server guy pulled his wizardry and made it work and got them all back up and going. We went back a few times, for minor issues here and there, getting their saws connected, getting a bunch of other workstations connected. And of course, I've been beating this guy up. So give him an estimate, turns it into insurance. He gets multi tens of thousands of dollars check, and it's like, met with him, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and it's like, hey, yeah, let's move forward on this. Okay, I got the insurance check. Still crickets. So I had to send him an email. Was it last night? I sent an email. I was like, hey, you still got our equipment. We're going to need that back soon.
Mhm.
I've already had one other customer that we had to cobble something together because they had an issue, because that was our spare server. So, I mean, we have others, but I was trying to make it sound a little rougher than it really is. So, we're going to have to get our equipment back soon, and I mean, everything. He has a small business server and a couple of workstations that we quoted him, and it was like 25, 27 grand. And it's like, you still got my equipment. I need a check before I can order this equipment, new equipment, because we take 100% of parts up front. We're not doing anything until I get a check, especially from these people. But
Yeah,
so,
because what he failed to mention was all the labor we billed them for to get everything back up and going while we were dealing with insurance. They paid via ACH and it bounced.
Oh.
Yeah. So then I sent it through again and it went through, but we've had problems with them in the past with paying anyway.
yeah.
Should have been charging them a rental or lease fee. And if they want to move back to insurance, that's fine. But, should have been something like day 30, you're starting to pay on the equipment.
Well, we discussed that last night, actually.
Usually it's not a problem, though. I mean, we've done this multiple times, and somebody's had an issue. Usually when they're having this type of issue, they're not our customer, and we're saving the day for some new customer of ours because they need somebody to save the day, and we're slapping in a server. And of course, he's a break fix. We have plans in place to avoid this with managed clients and to have a quick restore and stuff like that. But,
right.
To borrow our equipment like that, it's like, oh my gosh. And it's like, what do you do now? He's got my server and my switches and routers and sonic walls. And you just go, hey, I'm coming to get it and pull it out. See ya.
Yeah, I'm coming on
here.
Friday. Or
That's
I'm
what
coming on the
happens
first.
here.
Give him some notice, but
Show up with the sheriff at the door.
Yeah. I mean,
I've gotten to the point where if somebody doesn't want to be a managed client, they call up and the new customer, they call up and they need help. So I say to them, you're calling, you're asking for help. I'm going to help you. So I'm going to get you out of whatever predicament you're in. I'm going to help you. But then after that, I'm not coming back unless you're under contract. And I want to mean that. I really want to mean that. But 6 months later, when they call and they have something and we still go because, we really shouldn't. I mean, it'd be really great if we could be that disciplined to be able to cut those people off and train them on what the right way to do stuff is. But you can't always convince people of what the right thing is. It's terrible. Yeah.
And like this guy, he had Windows backup running to 2 USB drives, and of course both of the USB drives are dead. It's like no one's checking the backups. I mean, it's like a complete disaster. And it's like, at what point? And I was thinking liability standpoint. It's like, hey, we stepped in, saved the day.
This is a
disaster. Now you're running on our server, and it's like he doesn't have anything in place for backups even on our borrowed server. So it kind of makes me weary. It's like I talked to him about putting backups in place, but backups cost money, and he doesn't want to spend money yet. So it's not that I don't want to have a backup there, but it's at some point I'm not pulling brand new 8 terabyte drives off the shelf and plugging them in and backing up just because you haven't paid me yet. So
I don't think it's unreasonable for you to put say, hey, listen, October 1st, I'm coming to get the stuff.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't think there's anything wrong with you saying that. But
yeah. I may have to pull that notice because I emailed him last night, and of course I got crickets today. I called him the day before that and left a voicemail and haven't got a call back. But I mean, you got paid from the insurance company. Your company needs this stuff. It's like, I don't know if they're in that bad a financial shape that they spend all the insurance money on staying alive, payroll, something, and not because I mean, it was a bigger deal for me to get an estimate to turn into insurance.
It's bizarre to me, the people, the industries that really need the computer more than others, right? Like lawyers and other industries where that without a computer, they've got no work product. It's not like they're electricians and they don't use a lot of parts and yet they cheap out on I think if they were electricians and installing stuff, they'd buy the right tools maybe, and they'd get their employees good vehicles and all that other stuff. But when it comes down to the tool of the trade for them, if it's a computer, that they're using these 8, 9, 10-year-old things. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, but attorneys do that too. They will just They don't see it as a critical expense until it's broke. And then it's, you got to help us out. And we've got to change that mentality in our industry that you can't treat your computer as if it's, the last in the line of expenses.
Well, it all comes out of their profit sharing at the end of the year.
So does everything else.
Yeah.
I know, but that's what they look at. Like, well, this is an expense I can put off, so I get a bigger profit share at the end of the year.
And I tell them, well, that $10,000 dinner you spent on your, clients or whatever last month, that should be something so it's a tough deal.
I'm often heard saying payroll, rent, computer guy. Payroll, rent, computer guy. That's how it goes.
We're going to change the stigma.
Yeah, we're going to change the whole industry. Everybody's going to be a computer guy third.
Well, it's funny. I'm going to throw my wife under the bus because this is a conversation we had, when I brought their server back yesterday, and her concern was, well, what are they going to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Well, I'm like, I don't know. And she was concerned about how they were going to function in their business. And my reaction is, that's not my responsibility.
Not my monkey.
I told them what they needed to do. And this is the consequence of their inaction. And now I have to wait to find out, because I don't know what server to put in, because I don't know if their database program will run on a 2022 server. I can't just get new drives and, I can't put 2022 on their hardware that's, 13 years old. So it's one of those things where they're like, well, how long do we have to wait? I said, I can get you new stuff, but that doesn't mean you'll be up and running because I don't know if your software will run on it. So that's why I'm like, you got to call the vendor first, have them tell me what to do, and then I'll do it. But, they keep pressing me. Well, how quickly? I'm like, guys, you don't understand. I'm not the first person in line in this repair job. And we are taught to feel bad, like we've got to find a way to fix it. And I'm like, I can't. This is not my responsibility.
No.
It would be my responsibility if we were under contract.
Yeah.
If they were under contract, they wouldn't have been in the predicament they're in.
Exactly. If they were under contract, you would insist that they, do an upgrade. I'm firing a client next week because we renewed or we're going through new contract stuff and they're dragging their feet. They're not signing the contract. It's been 5 months. So for 5 months, he's been spending less money. And I've had it, and there's times when I think you have to just be like done, but you tell them they need to do this, and they won't do it. So I'm like yanking the contract because they're not listening. So because I don't want to be exposed. It's not worth the $400 a month to me. It's not.
Well, we have a client right now that's managed that I feel like I can't get to spend $1, so even sometimes when they are managed, I have this dental client. They have 2 locations, probably. How many computers they have, you think?
I think it's 30-some.
Yeah, 30-some computers. They have
2 or 4 servers.
They have 4 servers because they have 2 at each location. Well, they had one the other day that we've quoted them hard drive went bad, put a new one in. Told them there's going to be more drives go bad. Here's a server quote. Of course, crickets. Call them, follow up, emails, call them, follow up, nothing. Of course, another drive goes bad. We quote them a drive. You have to replace this drive. Well, I don't need that drive. There's plenty of them in the server. No, that's not how this works. And I had to call and explain and have this conversation. It's like, no, one more goes bad, you're down. Well, they never would approve it. And I'm sitting there thinking, how do I make this right when they're a managed client and I can't hold their hand and say, write the check, So it's like one of those battle things. But so what happens? Their whole rate array dies because another drive fell. So what do? We rush in, save the day. Our network guy, server guy goes in. He's like, we don't have drives to fit this server. What are we going to do? Oh, USB 3.0 drive in the back. So we restored the data to the USB 3.0 drive in the back. Runs great. They're not having any problems. So now the problem is they don't have a problem. So now you're pushing the envelope, and I've sent her 2 more server quotes since then. It's like, you have to do this. Well, we got another server, and this can't we just put new drives in this one? It's a 2012 server. 2012 is out of date next month. So no, it really needs to be replaced. Well, 15 grand's a lot for a server. No, it's not. So let's put a server in. And then now she's like, of course, they have a bunch of Windows 7 machines too that I've been pushing since the beginning to get them to replace. And we've replaced a few, but I would say they probably have 20 plus Windows 7 machines. And this isn't us not trying. I'll put that out there right now. It is like beating them up. So, and I think the problem isn't the doctor that owns the place, the dentist that owns the place. I think it's the office manager. I don't know if she gets a bonus or something, but she has always been super tight with money. And it's like, you have to over explain yourself to spend $1. And it's like, so I told her, I was like, well, here's what we're going to do. You're still running off USB drive. We've got to fix this if you want us to keep helping you. So I'm going to quote you all the machines, all the Windows 7 machines going to 10. They have to. You're violating HIPAA. They come in, you're done. And you explain all this stuff. And, I'm afraid of the liability to come back on me on some of this stuff. And
you should.
Conversations and all this stuff. We pushed, the servers. They really need 2 new servers, one each location. So they need new network. I mean, they're in bad shape. We took them over for another IT company about 1.5 years ago, and it's been an uphill battle the whole time. And they're okay with us helping them on a monthly basis, but they don't want to replace nothing. So if you have any ideas about how to force somebody to write a check to replace something,
cancel the contract. Cancel the contract.
Report them to HIPAA.
There you go.
Call the HIPAA police.
Yep. Well, Giles,
Yes.
I know that you're, been a little quiet here. You're known as the SaaS lady, but you just recently took on a client. Have you started with them yet?
Oh, actually, yeah, I've taken on a couple just in the last couple of weeks. So
All right.
it's been kind of busy.
And how are you handling now doing, this, hardware related stuff? And are you ready for these types of problems?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is hard. There's hardware and software just because it's SaaS, but the thing is that don't have in either of these cases is an on-premises server. So, everything's handled through Azure AD and all that. But I was just sitting there listening to you and I was thinking, boy, I'm really thankful for my new clients because they are, both of them are, we want to be in the cloud. Now we need to pay you for your time just while I'm, just working with them to kind of go through everything before they've even decided to do business with, they're like dream clients, both of them. So,
yeah.
And they're very good to work with. And so I'm feeling really fortunate right now. So.
Yeah. Well, all that stuff said, that's like 2 of our mini clients. So don't take that as like everybody's that way. But it's the few that really annoy you. It's a few that annoy you that really get to you, drive you crazy. Right. The rest of
I have a nonprofit that I just keep going after them to change out their workstations, and I just get crickets back. So
nonprofits are bad too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one that they have a $25,000 check to replace a server and 6 workstations, and I can't seem to get them on the phone to respond to my quote, which is only $17,000. So you have the money. Why not approve the project? Let's get going.
Yeah. Do y'all help out not-for-profits? Like a lot of times we'll, like recently we have a Girls Inc. here that we have some do their IT, and they pay us for IT, and all that good stuff. But they never have a budget, so we took some 6th gen, nice laptops and just swapped out their computers the other day, and we donated 6 straight, 5th, 6th gens for their labs for their girls or whatever to use because they don't have no money. But now not for profit doesn't necessarily mean they don't have money. I mean they don't have money, but I mean other not for profits do have money. So.
Well, I was going to say, you probably need to qualify because some not-for-profits truly need the help. Others don't.
Yeah,
so the not-for-profits that I've worked with that are more corporate-based, like Junior Achievement,
they have money.
I mean, they have money. They have deep pockets. But some of the others, I will, the only thing I would say is to make sure when you invoice them at the full rate.
Yep.
And then show the discount.
Yep.
that's the in-kind donation.
Yeah.
But don't let them start saying, "Oh, this person will help you out, and they're really cheap." No, we're not.
Yeah, here's a trick that I've used before, where I will invoice the nonprofit for $500, but then they send me a check for $500, and then I give them a $500 donation. So it ends up being a wash. They get the expense of the $500, and I get the write-off for the $500 donation, but it's a wash.
Hmm.
So it ends up, it's kind of a way to do that, kind of.
I heard somebody say one time is what they did for like their managed service, or if they did managed services for a nonprofit, they billed them at the full rate, but at the end of the year they would give them, 10%, 20% donation back as their discount. But
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. We do for the churches that are in and around me, we give them the managed antivirus and the web filter for free.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we just throw that part in, and then but we charge them every time we do anything. So, but we just give them that stuff for free. It makes me sleep good at night.
Well,
Warm
and
and
if you
fuzzy.
have like 10 users or less, you can get a Microsoft 365 Business Premium for free.
I know.
So, yes. I mean, and that's huge for, that really is a great thing that Microsoft does for nonprofits.
Well, they're a little late to the game because Google was doing it for, you could have 1,000 users and it was free. So that, it's hard to convert.
Are you using TechSoup for that 10 users, or what are you using for that, Diane?
No, if they
correct.
qualify for, as a nonprofit, now if they've already automatically qualified with TechSoup, then it's really quick and easy, but it doesn't take long to qualify direct to Microsoft.
Oh, yeah, we do TechSoup a lot, but typically it's not free. It's like $4.50 or something instead of 26 or whatever it is. So.
Yeah, TechSoup has done that. Now, AppRiver just finally got not-for-profit pricing as well. So you can actually resell through AppRiver and still support them.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then even if they go above 10, I mean, it's like $5 per user per month. So compared to 22.
Yeah, for the E3 license or whatever, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Well, Business Premium, which is very close to an E3. I mean, there's some differences, but
So do you all buy your licenses through a distributor like PAX8, or do you?
yeah, I'm
go
packed.
direct? Okay, I'm PAX8 too. So
I'm AppRiver.
I'm nobody.
You're nobody.
Tom's clients buy their own licenses, right?
I make them go direct. I don't do it the same way as everybody else. That's why I still drive a Ford and not a Jaguar. Yeah, I just have
Ford make Jaguar.
Oh, all right. That's why I drive a Ford, not a Mercedes.
You're Lambo, man. You're Lambo. Let's go for
I
it.
know, right? No, I have no interest in the bookkeeping efforts required and staying on top of it, getting billed and then rebilling. And now that they changed to the annual thing, and I'm kind of glad that I wasn't part of that. I just don't have enough of them. If I had more, I have too many small clients for it to make sense for me.
Well, if you build as a reseller, then you still would not have to worry about it, and you could get your, percentage for that. That's
if I get a kickback, that's a different story. But if I have to pay for it and then bill them for it, I don't really want to do that.
that's why-
PAX8 does it both ways, right?
Yeah.
Can do it.
You can choose.
Yeah.
Who does it both ways?
PAX8, I believe. Isn't that right?
PAX8. No, PAX8 is PAX8. You're the seller.
But there is somebody that does it.
AppRiver does it. AppRiver. I've got both reseller accounts and referral accounts.
Oh, I like that.
There's some other stuff.
I don't mind doing that. I mean, I get like 6 referral checks every month from different things, from Carbonite, from Gilware, from there's a bunch of them that I get. iDrive. I get a bunch of checks and I don't do anything, so I love it.
With AppRiver, you'll get another referral check.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
And if it's not AppRiver, there are others. I mean, pick the one you like, but there's others out there that you could, you just refer them. They
How about
still
Intermedia?
Intermedia, same way. I mean, I'm sure Jason's getting like a I don't know, $10,000 check each month or something.
Well, we get checks from our clients since we white label, so we get billed for all their phone service and we bill it out, and that's all Rachel doing all that.
So okay, Tom doesn't want that.
Tom's too lazy.
Rachel probably say it's a headache, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
it's like a
I
stack
would
of
bet at
invoices
the
this
end, I
big.
mean, my suspicion is that if I had to pay somebody to manage all that, that it would eat up any difference between the way I'm doing it now and, the way that I could be doing it on white label.
We'll talk, Tom. Just do everything as a referral. And
like
then you just sell it, and then you don't have to do the work, but you get the money. Actually,
Money for nothing and chicks for free. That's me. Sorry, honey.
How does that work in the admin portal? So is it better than if they're on a credit card? Because that's what I run into. I think that's a hassle when
For which
they're
thing?
paying with the credit card. If you do the referral.
referral doesn't matter. Yeah. So if you sign up with AppRiver as my referral, AppRiver bills you, and however you set it up to be paid, to pay your bill by credit card or check or whatever, I don't have to worry about it. AppRiver does.
But what
you
about
as
getting into the
IT
admin?
Oh, yeah.
No matter. Yeah, I'm still set up as an admin, and I can go in and if I want to bill them as part of my service agreement, which I do. So they call me for ads and moves and changes and all the management. Now, if there's a major issue where they're having trouble with, say, emails not working one day, I may say, why don't you call AppRiver? They can. So it's my choice as to whether I how much I do for them or not.
But as far as maneuvering the licenses around, like you can go in and add.
We go in and do that ourselves. Yep. And the good thing is in the AppRiver, you can do all that from the AppRiver side. And then it automatically syncs up with their admin portal. And the only thing you need to do is if you're going to do things like shared mailboxes or certain types of permissions, then you still go into the 365 portal to do it. Which I think now with a lot of the Azure stuff, more of that's going to be done in the 365 portal. AppRiver, I think they're trying to come up with a different portal to do a lot of that on their end, but they're usually the provisioning side, and then you take care of everything in the portal.
Okay. Well, it works pretty good with me. I mean, I like Pax8, and I've been having my clients just pay up front for an annual, ever since the NCE change in March. And so far everybody's, they're happy to save. I just, let them know, like, you're going to save 20% if you pay for it annually. And so far everybody's been good with that.
So take do me a favor and give me some numbers. Take 10 users. And what do you make off that annually?
From which perspective?
I'm asking Diana, sorry. On Pax8, 10 users, where they pay for a year in advance, what does Diana put in her pocket for those 10 users?
I believe it's a difference. If you're talking about like business premium, it'd be $264, and then I might take $225. Or the difference between $225 and $264. Does that sound right, Jason?
Okay, so that's 40 cents.
No, that doesn't sound right.
No. Like
for which
$40. It's like 25 to 40 somewhere.
Dollars.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 15 to 16%.
Yeah.
Is your average.
Like, okay, for example, because I ever since the change, I know it used to be $20 for a business premium license, cost me $17.50, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, you make a few dollars per.
So you're making $25 a month on that client.
Well, that's a user, but okay.
$2.50. My mythical user.
Yeah, the 10 user person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And with AppRiver, if you refer, it's just 15%, regardless of the product. You get 15% of whatever their bill is. Now, if you resell, you can charge whatever you want.
Sure.
So.
Right. I saw a Facebook post not too long ago where people were talking about, how much more they were selling. And I was like, I just do MSRP. I just do the retail price, but now I might charge a management fee for their tenant and that kind of thing. But as far as the licensing, I just charge them, whatever they would pay if they bought from Microsoft Direct.
It looks like on business premium, I logged in the Pax8.
This is a monthly.
This is a monthly client, so month to month, new commerce experience. For a business premium partner cost versus retail price, we make $3.70 per user per
Yeah,
month.
And what is that a percentage, Jason?
You're asking us to do math
Rachel.
on a live
Rachel,
broadcast.
Rachel, do the percentage.
What's the GP on that, Rachel?
Markup versus margin. Too. Come on now.
Like it's right at 16%.
Yeah. See, I won't touch anything unless it's 30. That's
You want-
and that's
well,
me,
unless-
my snobbery, and I won't do it. So if
You'd
I
have to
can't
sell
make
it.
30 points on it, go direct. I'm not interested.
Yeah, you'd have to sell it. You know, you could sell it for whatever you want. I mean, that's just
Sure.
retail price.
But no one
MSRP.
would pay for it, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Am
some
I?
would.
Yeah.
Yeah, some would. I
But
guess
what
if
do
you
you do-
bundled it as part of a bigger thing, then it would make sense. But your operating expenses are greater than 15%. So to me, and thank God you've got other things to blend to make it greater than 15% overall. But you couldn't live with that.
If you do it as a referral to get that 15%, you're not doing the work.
Right.
Well, and part of it is too. We use Autotask, and Pax8 syncs the licenses all to the building. So if it changes up and down, like our technicians are adding or subtracting and all that stuff, it syncs. It does a pretty good job. I mean, there's a hiccup here or there every once in a while, but
Yeah. But that costs money too.
what's
Plus,
that?
you've got Pax8. If you do have some sort of weird Microsoft issue, I'm not talking about really a support issue for one of the apps. I'm talking about like something with the tenant licensing, that kind of thing. With Pax8, you've got people who can pick up the phone and get the Microsoft person on the phone. And plus, we've run into these issues where when they've paid with a credit card, that person the person at their business has to be an admin, and usually you'll find they've done that with a user account, which is a terribly dangerous thing to do. And so it's hard to manage the licensing that way. So to me, it's not even about the money. It's just about the ease of management of the licenses and the tenant.
Do you set up the CSP too?
Do what now?
Do you have the Microsoft Partner Portal where you have the CSP where you can
I do.
switch between all the tenants? So like you have all of our customers and you just
Yes,
drop down,
but I
choose.
find myself just going direct a lot.
Oh yeah.
I haven't.
Our techs seem to love just bouncing between them because they're at least our help desk. So they call in.
Yeah, I need to do that more than I do. I got in a habit and it's hard to break.
And the only thing you can't do is two-factor. So if you have to do two-factor, you have to log in or like change someone's two-factor or reset it or something like that. You have to log in direct. You can't do that from the CSP, or at least I haven't found a way to do it. It doesn't show up the menu option. So there's a couple of things that's kind of missing. Logging in from CSP versus that, because that's one of the big deals we found out real quick when we started doing all that. So
Yeah. Anybody having fun with the modern authentication changes?
You mean with Microsoft?
Yeah.
that hasn't really affected us any.
Any fax machines, any copiers that can't send by email?
Oh,
We got tired of this stuff a long time ago. So what we do is we have a pop email account. We actually have a web hosting that has udprint.net, like for printers. So we actually go into the cPanel. It's unlimited email account. So we create an email account for the customer. That's their name at ourdomain.net. And that's only used for sending emails out of copiers. And because we had too many times it was breaking with the send connector, and they change things and it breaks, and then you can't forward email and you have to go change that. I mean, it's just.
Well, that's a good idea.
And it's okay to change one customer when you have hundreds, and then make some stupid change like that, and you got to change hundreds of customers, copiers, and multiple copiers, and I give up on it. I was like, I'm done. A lot of people use SMTP to go. I've seen people do that. We tried that for a bit, but it's so much easier with the.
Diana hates this, but we have one of our accounts is we have no 2FA on it, and we use that one on all our Synology NASs to communicate to us. So I'm sure there's a multitude of sins.
And why does Lady Di hate that?
Because there's 2FAs off.
Oh,
You can turn 2FA off. You just get
that's practice.
All right. I just have like a password that's this long.
yeah.
And then we use it to feed the notifications to our ticketing system. Maybe it's dangerous.
You still using
Danger.
Repair Shopper, Tom?
Yeah. So we have a help at email address that feeds the leads for us.
Right.
And that's just for Synology stuff.
We do it for all the things, but we use that email address, notifications at tworivercomputer.com to hit our RMM from the Synology devices. Because we tried using SMS and we tried using push, but the email seems to work the best.
That's what we do for Synology. We go in and configure all the alerts we want to get and just have it emailed to our ticketing system.
How many do you manage, Jason?
Synology?
Yeah.
We don't use them a lot, probably 30-ish, something like that.
Yeah, it's about where we are.
Yeah.
And we're using CMS, and so our NAS manages all the other ones, which is okay. It's a little slow, but we like the security factor of it for our technicians that are managing it and, looking at the thing. So works pretty good. And I was telling Diana just the other day, their Microsoft 365 backup is just banging, man. That thing's really good.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. They have that built in. Usually, instead of doing a NAS, we'll do SharePoint as far as storage and file shares and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, if we're putting a Synology NAS in, it's some large amount of files, or they need quick access, or it's a backup device at that point. So
that's all I do is I make people take it as a backup device. I mean, it's very rarely used as a storage device for shared files.
Mm-hmm.
It's a disaster recovery device. And if they're doing Microsoft or Google, they get to do that. That ABB backup works really good. I had been wanting, in fact, I'm going to talk again to Mike at MagnusBox about image backup to the Synology NAS, because, we were, for the longest time, we were using Windows 7 image backup to a NAS. And then that kind of got broken with like more than half of the Windows 10 machine. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And we didn't know, of course, until you went and tried to restore something. But that ABB backup works really good.
I would do that. I do that with several. Do that with a couple of servers, but mostly workstations.
Yeah.
And it works just great. Are any of you guys using the Active Insight for Synology?
I got some email the other day that said, "Hey, you've been granted 3 free licenses and stuff," and I haven't had a chance to check it out. And I logged in for like 3 seconds. I was like, "They changed something apparently." So,
what is it?
So Active Insight is kind of like a dashboard for Synologies where you can have all of your hosts show up, and it's you can use it for just monitoring. It'll give you like the current performance, disk space. You can set it up for alerts, so that if for some reason it shuts down improperly, you'll get an alert for that. If a user tries to log in with an incorrect password, you could get notified for that. They've probably got about 50 notification features on there. So, I've got it on my phone to where I can see my NASs and their current state. And it was free. It was in beta for a while. They just started a payment to where you have to pay for it. And it's actually pretty cheap. I think it's like $9 per year per device. But they've added a whole bunch of stuff. So it's kind of like your RMM for Synology.
Pretty cool.
And
Active Insight.
Active Insight. And you can, from that dashboard, you can actually remote into your NAS from that dashboard.
Kind of like Quick Connect or whatever.
Yep. So
Cool. Good to know.
it's pretty
Because
cool.
sometimes on the CMS, did you guys use that?
Yeah,
To
what's the
manage-
difference between the CMS and the Active Insight? That kind of sounds similar.
Well, they sound redundant, right? Like the CMS is the central management system. That's where we can look at all the other NASs that are kind of
Right. But you're usually setting that up on your own NAS.
yes.
And then you're managing other NASs from it. The Active Insight is just a web portal where you can do that. So you don't have to have a physical box yourself.
Nice. I'm asking Fernando.
I think that's what I was looking at the other day. But I didn't activate it, but that's where I was looking to see how I could get notifications on
So I will let
365.
the Synology folks know, because we have some podcasts that are kind of in limbo that I did with them, and we are supposed to be doing a live show with them soon. It was supposed to be a couple of months ago, but they have been swamped with stuff. So they're going to be at the conference this week. So
Yeah.
you guys talk to them, but not the guys that'll be on the podcast. And he just reached out to me, so we should be scheduled here in a couple of weeks to get them on, and we'll do some deep dives into the Synology stuff.
Cool.
Coming in.
I've been really happy with that product. It's been great. I'm closing in on 40 of these things, and for me, my size business, my typical client, it's really I kind of make them take it if they're going to be under contract with us, because it gives me that, because none of mine are on Active Directory. They're all like standalone workstations. So I get this image backup as a disaster recovery thing. And plus it allows you to virtualize it. If the machine goes down, you can virtualize their machine in the NAS. It's really, it works really well. Pretty fast. Like a restore over a wire, 20 minutes. Bare metal, 20 minutes.
So we're doing that. Actually, the not-for-profit that I'm waiting for them to give me money out of their check. That's what we're going to do. I'm putting in one of the larger NASs, and we're going to run. I'm going to set up 2 storage pools, and storage pool 1 is going to be their virtual machine server, and then storage pool 2 will be their file system that we're going to do encryption on, and then we're going to use their C2 cloud backup.
That C2 works really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I use that.
I mean, that's cheap. $79 for a terabyte.
Yep.
Yeah, I was doing iDrive. I think I told you guys this once before. So I liked iDrive because it was kind of unlimited. I mean, it was 1 terabyte, then it was 3, then it was 5 for $79 a year. And it sounds terrible, but it actually works. I've had to restore. Unfortunately, I've had to restore a couple times. Hopefully, you don't have to do it much, but I've had to restore a couple times, and it's always worked out pretty well. And the support's pretty good too. But I've been moving people away from iDrive onto the C2 if they have a NAS, and that's been a great transition.
Well, C2, I mean, they're making a whole ecosystem of the C2, so we'll see how it goes. But they're doing, the C2 backup, the C2 cloud, the C2 storage, C2 identity. It's a whole bunch of stuff they're doing. So we'll see that over the next. I'll probably explore bits and pieces over the next year or so.
Yeah. Do you use any of the backup products from or Enable now? Sorry, wrong company from before. Yeah, Enable.
Wait, were you two companies ago?
Man, you have it. It's
we still call it GFI. We still call
it. It took us forever to get the SolarWinds and from GFI, and then it's like, daggone. And then it's
we use the document backup for $1, and we haven't looked at the Cove offering just yet. I mean, we've kind of looked at it. It's a little bit of a retooling of what that professional backup was. But it's still pretty expensive, and that you pool. It's very complicated. I think trying to figure out the pricing, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
well, ours. That's our main backup is Code Backup. We do that for all of our servers, any workstation that needs a full backup. We were doing the document backup, but there were so many alerts and errors that ticket system blew up, and I was like, for a buck, it's not worth the effort. So we got rid of all of it. Yeah. So we got rid of all the alerts to our ticketing system, saved us some headache. But as far as the regular backup, it's almost like a Datto NAS now. I mean, it backs up full metal image to the cloud over and over again. If you get the standalone version, you can keep 180 days of daily backups and keep a year of retention. You're able to set the retention. It doesn't cost really any more, and you can do the archiving and stuff like that. And then also it has kind of a we can do a bi-weekly or monthly, where the bi-weekly boots up the server and it does restore to a virtual machine in the cloud, boots up the server and sends you a screenshot and all that. And then we've been recently playing with the new thing. They have a standby image that you can put an image on the machine somewhere and have it ready to go. And then we've been trying out their Office 365 backup too. So it seems to be working pretty well. So
try and restore something, man. It works really good.
What's that?
Try and restore something. a contact or I was telling Diane I had a problem. I was trying to restore. It was my fault. I made the mistake. I deleted a series of recurring appointments where certain versions of the recurrence had different notes in them. So I was able to restore the recurring appointment, but the notes didn't come, the individual notes. But I've done contacts, I've done mail, and it's like wicked fast. I'm really impressed with that product, especially for the price, free. Nothing's ever good that's free, and that's actually really good.
That's pretty cool. That's all in the Synology.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we do the Google one. I sold a guy a NAS just to back up his Google, just for his mail and his calendar, his Google Drive. I'm like, your stuff's not backed up. I wrote a whole blog thing on it. I scared him, and he said, what do I do? And I'm like, you got to buy a NAS. So bought a NAS with the Google backup, and it worked great. It's really works great. It's a good answer.
I'm going
Yeah.
to leave. I'm going to take the puppies and leave.
How
Go
many?
get my children ready.
Wait. How many puppies are there?
Well, we have Izzy,
Oh, God.
who is almost 2.
Let's see that one.
This one is Mabel. She's 11 weeks old.
Oh,
Mabel.
you looked young. Oh,
Yeah.
New
God,
addition.
Mabel.
She's
Mabel?
actually the sister of Izzy. They're just different litters. They have the same mom and dad. I got her from my sister who has a farm about an hour away, and so their dogs have puppies. So it's the same
And how
mom
many
and dad.
how many did you get, Jason?
This was just the second one.
Second and last. yeah. I love dogs. Don't get me wrong, but it's like,
So you only have 2 then?
only yes, and we'll only have 2.
2 dogs, 2 children. You're good. You're doing good.
Mabel goes to work with me every day and sleeps under my desk all day.
Oh my God, a shop dog. I love
We
it.
do have a shop dog. I have a baby gate in my doorway.
That's funny.
Everybody comes in and out and pets the dog and takes her
Oh, it's
out.
good for them. Oh my God, it's good for people. Absolutely.
Our admin and our other bookkeeper, they'll come steal the dog and take off with them. They play with it and bring it back. So
That's great.
But I will see all of you all this weekend.
Yeah, you
All
will.
hey.
We will see you.
Bye.
See you, Diva.
What is he?
Diva. Oh, Diva.
Yeah, Synology, I think they've got like 70 apps.
Yeah, there's a lot because I was looking at that the other day, just to try to familiarize myself with, because I only have one client that has a NAS, and that's the one I have them on Dropsuite to back up their Microsoft 365, and so I was trying out the 365 backup on the Synology for them. So
I've been running Domotes on the Synology, and so I've been saving my boxes for clients that don't have that. I'm doing the backups, the active backup for both servers and workstations. I'm doing set up a Synology surveillance station a couple of months ago.
That's a big deal. Apparently, there's a lot of people doing that.
Yeah, so I've
That's
got
one of the bigger things they do. Yeah.
15 cameras running on the Synology station there.
Yep.
And let's see, hyper backup, file station, the directory server. Tom, you said are you using the directory server in Synology?
No.
You're not?
No.
It's actually pretty cool.
But we use file station, and we use we do the hyper backup because all of them have a USB backup connected to it, and the Google and Microsoft and the ABB, we call it Active Backup for Business.
Yep. So I have 2 offices running the directory services, and that's been pretty good. I mean, it's not full Active Directory, but you can still do the group stuff and shares and kind of manage that way. So for smaller clients, that works out just great. I'm going to be setting up at the end of the year, we're doing 2 file server replacements with Synology NASs, and we're going to do the snapshot replication across the VPN to opposite sides of the state and see how that works. So
we've done that with one. We have a farm. it's like a specialized pharmacy. They make cancer and nuclear radioactive injections to scan for cancer and heart blockages. But we have one at one location, and here one about 2.5 hours away, kind of back up across. So that way they kind of have redundancy and works really well, syncs well.
Yeah.
What do they call is it called the container? The thing they do in Synology?
Well, so they have. Are you thinking of not the Plex servers, right? You're thinking
No.
what is it? The Docker or something?
The Docker.
Yeah, Docker.
So I had one of the techs that was working with us who kept talking about that and like running things like SQL, running that in there, running maybe QuickBooks in there because you can't. It's got to be on a Windows OS QuickBooks. So I mean, that'd be great if you could figure that out.
So they're running that in Docker because I would just do a virtual machine and install a Windows license.
And you could do that in a Synology NAS?
Yeah, there was a podcast. When they're on your podcast, there was a guy talking about doing that.
Yeah.
I think you were in Spain.
I would tell you that I might have been drunk then, but or walking. But that is a big thing. I think if you look at the instances of MSPs or hybrids that have customers running QuickBooks, and what a nightmare that is because of the local machine issues and being able to put it back on a server. I think on 2014 or something, QuickBooks, you couldn't put it on a standalone stupid device. It had to be a device running Windows.
Yeah,
So,
well, it still does. It still needs to be. I mean, they prefer a server, but I've seen people doing it on Windows 10.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's it. So that's all I'm going to do for this client. They've got QuickBooks and then they've got a database program. So we're going to install the server just for those. But it's a virtual machine on a Synology NAS.
Yeah.
Didn't know you could do that.
That's on my to-do list for somebody.
Yeah. We've done a Windows 10 machine.
You do that, Lady Di, and let me know how you make it out.
Okay.
And then help us do the next one.
Okay.
So, but you're using kind of a much heavier duty like Xeon processor rack mount unit.
Yeah. This is our application.
Yeah.
So this is the lowest one I've got running right now is the DS1621XS Plus.
That's big.
It's not the biggest. It's the 6-bay station. But I also loaded up with the M2 memory. And then for this new client, I'm going to do SSD drives for their storage pool 1. And then the other drives for their files and stuff will just be regular SATA drives.
Not regular, but NAS drives.
NAS.
You guys use the Seagate Iron Wolves, or do you use the WD Red, or what do you do?
So I use WD Red Pro.
Yeah.
Much as possible until the higher end machines now where they're saying it needs to be the Synology, the SA2H series or whatever.
Yeah.
The rebranded Hitachi drives.
Yeah.
That's what that is. So
Well, thank you.
They just want to say drives.
We've been doing all of those Seagate Iron Wolf, the 7200 RPM. It's like the Red Pro.
The Red Pro, right?
But that's a Seagate version. We switched to those about a year ago. We were doing all the WD before that. I mean, we haven't had problems with either one of them, so they seem to just go and go and go.
Did you get better pricing?
On the Seagate, yeah, not a ton better, but availability was better.
Okay, that made sense a while back.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Let's just do a Synology show here.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a great product.
Just looking through the rest of this stuff here, see what else, because I've done a lot of this stuff. So snapshot replication, surveillance station.
Who's using something else? I mean, you have we did Drobo. We have a lot of some of our Mac clients have Drobo. Do you guys know about that one?
No.
It's a NAS. It's a hot swap NAS, which is really neat. And it can be RAID. I don't know. I guess you'd call it 5. And you can hot swap the drives, different sizes, different types, SSD, spinners, big ones, little ones. Really, I mean, it's an expensive device, but it works really well. But it lives kind of in a Mac world.
Okay. Now, I was going to look at the Unraid world or the TrueNAS world, and it was just too high of a learning curve for me. Not that it was too high, but it was too much work to get started.
Mm.
And I thought, you know what, I need to be able to get stuff where I can just get in, get it up, get it running, and know that I had support behind me. And in the Unraid and the TrueNAS, it was basically community based, and I know that those are great environments for some people, but for me in my business world, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a Unraid NAS. It's actually an old Dell server that we loaded Unraid on and put a ton of hard drives in for storage. I think we got like 25 terabytes or something just for storage of, backing up a customer machine, restoring, imaging, whatever, just general purpose in our office. But it works really well, and it's been rock solid for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now. But learning curve on that is definitely a different thing. It's not that you can't do it, but you still have to have hardware. You still have to have drives. It's kind of like just buy Synology. That's my kind of opinion. It's an off-the-shelf product. Be done.
Yeah.
Not that the Unraid. I mean, I like the interface. It works well. It's just I'd rather just have a Synology, to be honest. But yeah,
I've got a client that's got a Buffalo right now that I'm looking to replace, only because I have not seen a NAS that has as much flexibility as Synology with all the apps and all the things that you can do. I just haven't seen it. And so when I'm looking at this customer and we're talking about, well, we need to do this, we need to do that, I'm like, just do a Synology. Just, stop trying to make other things work that don't work.
Mm.
Because Buffalo, as far as I'm concerned, is really, I don't want to say a dumb NAS, because it does have some of the features like DHCP, DNS. I mean, you can do some of that stuff, but it doesn't have the awesome backup stuff that Synology has. It doesn't have the active insight. I mean, it's just so many things.
It just ends up being a data warehouse.
Right.
Yeah. And two, Synology seems to have a pretty good track record with constant updates and things like that. Security first.
When do yours go down? When do your Synologies go down? I can't remember replacing one.
I did. It was February this year. Yeah, February this year. I had my first one fail. It was the DS 918. And it was just a glitch in that model that I found out that several would have, where it would just start power cycling.
Oh.
And if it power cycled, if you were connected to a domain, it would lose the domain membership. And for me, that was a problem. And because I would, it would go down, come back up. It was only their archive drive, so it wasn't critical. But they had people that would go back into the archive and pull out files for, if somebody called in and said, hey, I need to check a closed file, that's what it was for. But it would just disconnect from the domain. I'd go in and I'd reset the DSM, reset the domain, and it would work for a few days and then go again. And Synology was great. It was probably close to the end of its warranty. And no, it was past warranty, but they still replaced it because it was a known issue.
That's good. Good to know.
Yeah.
The only one we've ever had is a power supply went bad, and I think it's 1815 plus. It's got, I think, 8 bays or 6 bays. I can't remember which one it was, but it's either way, it had power supply bad, and called them up. They shipped a new one. Wasn't a big deal. But while we're talking about NAS, listen to Security Now today, and of course QNAP's back in the old security recycle bin. They've been beat up again. Another vulnerability with their NAS is getting ransomwared over and over and over again. So,
oh boy,
yeah, if that's probably the 4th or 5th one I've heard in the past year of vulnerability. So you talk about not trashing nobody if they use QNAP, but at least Synology seems to keep that stuff up to date and no problem. QNAP, according to Security Now guy, he said one of the last issues has said that you know if you had to expose the internet to access stuff, that their solution was we're not fixing our software. It's don't expose it to the internet. That's your problem. So I'm like, what kind of so that's not a NAS I'd want to sell. You know, that's,
Right.
Yeah.
that's not the way you should be with a IoT device, basically. So
Who was really using QNAP? I mean, you would see that, and I haven't in a while. But what industry or what vertical is using QNAP?
I've seen people post in Facebook groups that they're using QNAP and stuff like that. You know, and it's just
For
like
what though? Just like basic stuff?
same thing you use the Synology for, I guess. I mean,
Okay.
I've seen
I
people.
thought maybe like photographers or
Yeah.
dental offices or somebody was using them kind of specifically.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just for anything. But
Okay.
Put
Is
it
that
this-
Steve Gibson you're talking about?
yeah, security now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's all over the news. The Deadbolt ransomware.
Yep.
It's all over the news. 674% increase.
Wow.
So they went from 5,000 NASA. What's the plural of that? I don't know. But
NASA.
NASA's. It just sounds weird. But anyways, I like NASA. But anyway, sounds like a ninja. I don't know. But either way, they said they went from 5,000 to 19,000 some in like a week's time period of being ransomware. It's insane. But they're saying that this ransomware is getting there because people haven't exposed to the internet, which I don't know why you'd expose your NAS to the internet, but
Right.
Well, and even if you do, Synology has a security advisor.
Yeah.
That you just run through the checklist and it'll tell you close this hole, change your HTTPS, change the ports. I mean, they'll tell you. You know,
there's really no need to expose it to the internet with all the apps and stuff. It connects, through Synology's Quick Connect and all that stuff. You don't really have to expose.
Well, we're doing one project, and we've only done it one other time, but where people are VPNing in just to get Word documents and PDF documents and stuff.
are they using the Open VPN inside the Synology? Okay.
That works really well, and we charge the customer for it, so that's the best part.
You should.
Yeah, you have to manage it and set it up.
Yeah. Why not use like the what's it called? File Station app, or what's it called? You can actually load it
Yeah,
on
but
your
I mean,
computer.
if they just want to be able to have a map drive on their File Explorer, the way they're always used to doing it, don't change
For that,
anything.
yeah.
For me, I'm over 40. I don't like change.
Well, I mean, unless you're talking about they have the Cloud Sync, and what's the Synology Drive server? Can you do those over the VPN or over
I
the
don't
internet?
know. I'm not doing it, thankfully. Fernando's doing it. So.
Well, if
All
it's Cloud Sync, they wouldn't have to VPN, would they? They could
Right.
just go to
No.
the.
Need to be
I say, but they have Cloud Sync, and then they have this other Synology Drive server, which if I remember correctly, I'm trying to look here. I think it's just if you have the app, you don't need to VPN. It just populates the files you need.
I would think.
Well, ask me in a week.
Synology Drive, yeah. File access via a
We're
web,
installing it on Tuesday. I hope it goes well.
and it incorporates with Synology Drive Share Sync for synchronization across Synology NAS devices. So that seems like a pretty robust package too. So maybe we'll do a series and we'll just go through all of these apps and we'll just bring people on who have used them and
There
play
you
with
go.
do that because there's a ton. So, all right. Well, guys, we've hung out here for more than an hour, and some people have to start packing, I hear. So,
Definitely.
probably start wrapping this up. Any major last minute stuff tomorrow before you head out?
Working full day, and so after work, I think I'm gonna leave work like an hour early just to go hang out with the kids for a minute, and then jump on a plane. We'll be up there around midnight. So
Now, are you before midnight? You're flying out tomorrow?
yeah, we're flying out Thursday evening to. See, originally I thought there was something on at 12 o'clock on Friday for the event, but I think that got moved.
Yeah, that got
No, I think you're
4
right.
p.m.
Yeah. So now it's at 4. So we're trying to get. I mean,
They changed
we're-
it. Yes.
I thought there was
Or at-
something at 1 o'clock on Friday, the tabletop thing.
No,
Starts at 4.
4 p.m.
They moved it.
Oh,
Yeah, so we
All
were
right.
planning on coming out Thursday night, so we're ready to be, sleep in the morning, and 12:30 we'd be out there at the whatever event, and but now they moved that to 4, so it's cool. We'll run around the city, hang out with people, whatever. I'm cool with it. So.
I have to
But,
pay estimated taxes tomorrow. Anybody else?
That's already done.
It
I
is
was gonna say,
September
my accountant
15th.
left. I'm not sure. So-
That's funny.
nope, just
Yeah.
tying up loose ends and packing and
God, I have 3 surveys and a bunch of other stuff to do tomorrow.
3 Wi-Fi surveys.
Yeah, well, 2 Wi-Fi and 1 AV. So it's great because we charge them for it, and then because sometimes we've gone out and done stuff and tell them what we're going to do and give them a proposal and everything, and then we never hear back from them. So we would charge them, and then if they did the job with us, we would apply that towards the job. And then I decided I didn't want to do that. I want to charge them for the survey and for the job. So that's what I'm doing now.
All right.
People seem pretty open to paying for basically a quote.
Paying for an expert? Yep.
Expert quote.
Paying for an expert. So
so you say AV, so that's like in a home?
yeah, audio, video.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so sound and TVs and stuff.
Mhm.
We went. We
You
had.
can do it anywhere, Diana.
Do
We
what?
bought a. We
What'd you
just got
say?
a dealership with Skyview, which is outdoor TV company, and we got our first TV today. So I go on the job, so I want to watch and see this thing, and it's DOA, first
Oh,
one.
fun.
Not dead, but sound, but no picture. Customers like all disappointed. They wanted to watch football this weekend, and like it doesn't matter. You're a Jets fan. You're like sucks anyway. So,
But Joe Flacco's there.
I know, right? Yeah. So yeah, fun stuff.
All right. Well, guys, let's go ahead and wrap up the live show here. We've got a few people that have hung out with us. Thank you guys very much for staying on. And for those listening,
See
thank
you in Chicago.
you for downloading and subscribing to the show. We'll be back after Chicago with a wrap up. And if you are going, we'll see you Friday, 4 p.m. is when everything starts. And let's see, 4 o'clock is the early session. 6:30 is the evening welcome fellowship that night. And then festivities all day Saturday and Sunday. And a kicker. One of the new things is going to be a swag contest. Paco and Rick,
Like swag.
it's playing that there, and should be a very, very good conference. So we'll see you guys later, folks. Thank you. We're going to sign off, and you guys can stay on. We'll chat afterwards, but ending off the live show here. So have a good night, everyone.
In
Holla.
Chicago.